flying axe, which is that would be an 11.
I don't think it's gonna do it.
Regardless, roll your
2d10 fire.
Yeah.
What's this big 14?
Oh, the J4 thing.
Oh, that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, that's something I just made appear. That's like if you're in a book, that like is how I know what room you're in. So to read what you're doing. Yeah, so between you rebuking that thing, it burns up, and then Christopher runs up behind it and slams it into the ceiling, and an axe blade falls to the ground. Next up would be Fell, who got attacked next.
Yeah, F you, axe.
You don't hit the axe.
Do I get another swing?
Yeah, you get your second swing. The axe parries you.
Oh my god.
Oh my lord. This axe is your new arch
Speaking of like slap fights, the axe can't hit me and I can't hit the axe.
Yeah. You're just like holding it like this. Like a snake that jumped at you. And last but not least, you're up, Carrot.
This thing's right next to me, right?
Yeah, it is up against you.
So I'm gonna use Shocking Grasp then.
Mm-hmm.
So
you touch it.
Yep.
Yep, and you shock it, and it now is an electrified axe.
Awesome.
Back to you, Christopher.
Yep, just down here.
Yep, just keep doing what you do.
Doing what I do.
Yep, it's gone.
Down here, take another swing.
And it is also gone.
Those were mine, or they're nobody's.
Yep.
I wanted those.
Just dumb.
Just like a kid breaking toys that he can't have. Just mad that I can't have them.
Okay. Yeah, let's see. I'm gonna go get food real quick since Jake's gone before we move to the next thing.
Cool.
Be right back. Everyone get snack break.
Snack break. Yeah.
Why? The thought of you taking pictures on an iPad Touch is pretty funny.
I was like still anti-smartphone at the time, so like, but I
I
had
know
that.
you had that shitty flip phone forever.
Yep, forever. Yeah, I tried for a while to be anti-technology, and it just didn't last long.
It only lasts so long. Okay. You say that now, and I remember the cushion in the ceiling fan.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So you're all now recouped, sitting here. All of you make a perception check. Amazingly, Christopher and Fel hear like the cracking of stone. And
Get out of here.
and Christopher specifically thinks like, ah shit, we gotta get it out. My javelin probably not holding. And you guys
Let's run.
can all, we'll say without issue, you guys could, and because he got over 20 there, you can get out, and really what is holding the whole thing in place is the immovable rod has held it for maybe an extra 30 seconds.
Run
What
away.
do we do with the horn?
I would just assume that Christopher has the
I'll
horn.
take that.
Okay, cool.
I want to be like busking in the street and kill like half the population.
Yeah.
Don't do that.
I thought it was more fun to do that. Like identifying it, there is technically a command word you have to say to it, but I like to think you just said the command word on accident. Like busk. You guys get out, you're able to get your immovable rod back. It's not gonna be crushed under here. But as you do come out, and what you almost realize is the chair started to close sooner because like kind of like in the like reading of this giant pointing to the sky and doing that, even though you couldn't speak it, like you assumed you had some level of time, and you were only in there for maybe an hour going through all of this, and that seems like a shitty amount of time to give you. The door closed a lot faster because a new group has come to start
Oh my Jesus.
and do exactly what you guys were doing. Seems you guys got here just in time. You run out into the middle of a raging battle between like two orcs, a couple where's this guy to? Here. A group of orcs fighting this actually this wolf is in here. That was from a different thing. Group of orcs and some large orcs fighting a essentially the skeleton of what you guys fought when you got here.
Can we just slip out the through the chairs?
I'll say you guys are all you guys all saw this as you were coming up. They're all distracted fighting this thing. You guys probably what do you guys want to do? I'll say you guys are all like right where the chair like kind of was closing, watching this happen. No one's noticed you as of yet. You all have one turn to decide what you're doing.
I'm going to shout out to the orcs. What's up, dudes?
They are in the middle of
good.
So much for leaving.
No. I will say,
you need a
everyone
hand or like? are you gonna attack us next?
And
You all good?
No, you see once again as you come out and the thing still behind you, the giant is holding up 2 fingers again.
I realize they're gonna have to fight these fucking invisible dudes too. Like, let's just peace out. I don't want to fight those guys again.
Yeah.
I don't want to fight them plus all these dudes. Let's just peace out.
Okay.
We know what we came for, I guess. We didn't really come here for anything. We just came to check out these chairs.
Yeah. You guys, are you all agreed on piecing out, or are you gonna help these orcs fight this Skeletor?
I'm all in for piecing out. I don't care about these people.
I'll run away just saying like the next one are a bunch of invisible assholes.
Okay, you yell that out. So everyone make a stealth check. Or what are you doing, Phil? Are you piecing out, or do you want to help these people altruistically?
Yeah, I'm leaving.
Oh, you're muted.
I'm out. Yeah, let's peace out.
Peace the fuck out. So you guys everyone make a stealth check except for Christopher. You do it with disadvantage.
I get advantage, right, on my stealth checks with my.
Well, yours is flat
boots?
because. So you got an 8.
Oh, good.
Yeah, because you have advantage. Christopher beefed it. So 2 beefers. So we're gonna give them. Okay.
Are there 5 orcs? Are those 2 things? What are those 2
So
other
there's
things?
Technically 3 orcs, and 2 of them are orogs, which are orcish descent type things. They're like bigger orcs.
Got it.
Halfway between an orc and an ogre. Yeah, pretty much all of them except for one see you. You don't know what that means, but they all see you running. So
We get away.
I'm
In
one
the-
last word is like trust in paprika.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, I think it's some like gang sign.
In the words of Telltale Games, these orcs will remember that.
That's fine.
Yeah, and I think you guys all kind of had your. It is the middle of the fucking night, by the way. It is well past. Normally, you would think you would have camped down here, but you had to make a speedy exit. But your horses you guys all kind of left them out on the side, so we were able to get on them, probably ride like 5 miles. I need all of you guys to make a Constitution saving throw.
All right.
Okay, you guys are all good. You still have the adrenaline pumping through your horses. Took a good rest while you were fighting and doing all that, so you're able to get about 5-7 miles down. You find a nice ravine with some rocks overhanging where you can make a nice safe camp for the night, and you guys all can bed down. You made it.
Oh man.
You made it out of the Jarlmoot. So we're back here.
Oh yeah.
You made it out with your horde that you almost broke immediately. Yeah, we can say you can spend some time identifying that quickly if I don't know if you have that prepared character or if you can ritually cast it.
I can ritually cast it.
Yeah, so probably you set up the hut. You are all in your nice warm hut. The horses are fed and all that. Let's see. I can draw some lines. You identify it as a horn of blasting. So So divvy that up to whoever you want to give it.
I mean, I think it's clear who should have the horn.
Yeah, essentially it is a blasts out a 30-foot cone of blasting energy that then does 5d6 points of damage. It can be heard for 600 feet around you. And if it's done to glass or crystalline structures, it does 10d6 damage. So, if you wanted to break a bunch of glass, you could.
Oh man, if it blows up, 10d6 fire damage to the blower.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you guys all after that probably had moved up into here and then probably ran back down into like this little bunch of trees. So that is where you are camping for the night. And the next morning you all awake to continue your journey to this city of orcs. You still have a very good idea of which way you're going. There's going to need to be a survival check, but I can't remember. We were having different people lead it each day, so but I don't remember who was leading at what time.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I think I'm usually the first to do a survival.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll just restart it there. So here's the biggest thing that happens that night, though. As you're setting up camp for that night, before you start this, you see it was a pretty clear night as you had been fighting under kind of like a full moonlight. What you do see is from the east, a storm, black cloud front rolling in. My camera like super messed up. Oop. Yeah, just is my camera look up super skinny to everyone else, or is it just my phone fucking up?
This looks.
I
What
feel
is
like
it? Portrait?
looks normal. I mean, it is skinny, but it always kind of looks like that.
No, it's on mine. It's like the portrait frame is reduced by half, so I look like I'm 17 feet tall and 30 pounds. But anyways, yeah, a storm is rolling in and the faint snow starts. But what's very interesting about this storm is it's like thunder snow. Like there's light, the sky is lighting up. Maybe every once in a while, not very common, but light snow's falling and you'll see flashes of light in the sky. And that starts, and you can hear very, very faint rolls of thunder. It's just like kind of like that, like slow rolling thunder. Yeah. You guys sleep. So go ahead, Christopher, make a survival check.
Well, let's go towards the thunder. It's a good sign, right?
Mm-hmm. So with that, roll 2d20. Oh, a 1 and an 18. Okay, well, you already rolled the 1, so amazingly, this day goes without a ton of issue. You're able to make it through the plains and get down to about here, and then you get to about as far as you are thinking you can travel. People make as you're going down. I'll say normally people that are setting up camp are normally Carrick with his dome and Christopher cooking. Fel and Felix make perception checks. After a bit of Felix pointing it out to you, Fel, you see what he sees, which are the snow's coming down a bit harder now. Nothing awful, like it's definitely building, but kind of settling as fast as it's building, so it's nothing to worry about. But through that, he points out and you see a couple of lights off to the southern distance that seem to show what you would think is some sort of civilization or something dangerous. But looking at your map and putting that together, you are pretty confident that you are heading the right way and that by tomorrow you'll probably be able to get there. Just curious, what color are you making the dome, Carrick?
What color am I making it?
Yeah.
I usually am trying to like blend it into the background. So whatever the ground was, I would probably kind of try to mimic that.
That's what I always assumed. Just always wanted to check if you were just being ostentatious and making a big red button for someone to come press.
Not this time.
Yeah, so you do that, and the snow, like that storm is not past. In fact, like the rumbles of thunder seem to be becoming like a bit louder. Still not anything crazy, but it's definitely like an approaching storm that has approached for like an entire day slowly across this plain. And the snow continues. You all go to bed for the night. Nothing really exciting happens. However, when that dome turns off, because generally you sleep like, depending on when you make the dome, it like you are waking up right when it disappears. You guys are all awoken by about 2 inches of snow falling off the dome straight onto the top of you. The snow has definitely picked up, and it seems like, and that thunder has continued. You seem like the storm is right over you. It's not a blizzard. There's no wind. It's just snow and like probably a lightning strike every minute, every 2 minutes. And none of the lightning strikes seem to be close, but they light up the dark sky and the rolls of thunder come in. And then you make your trek towards the actual town. So about partway through this day, you find a worn path leading into a few miles wide valley. Like, so if you're looking at the map, like you're going into like a definite valley of mountains that seem to go on for a few more miles. Breaking up the mountains. Following the trail, you eventually see a wooden and stone tower ahead. It's probably sitting probably like noonish right now. You guys kind of picked up pace, seeing, especially after seeing that town, knowing you're close to civilization again after just traipsing through the woods and cold. It'd be nice to find a place. So following the trail, you see a wooden stone tower ahead. It's probably about 2 miles off. Is there anything you guys do? If not, you just continue ahead with your donkeys with all your provisions behind you. And you move forward. About a mile out, you all hear a loud horn call. And then shortly after can kind of see coming down this, because you're kind of like moving up this valley. You see three figures move out from this tower and start moving towards you. Anything you want to do?
Blow our horn back at them and risk blowing it up in our face.
You can blow that horn regularly as long as you don't say buskin before. But no,
Yeah.
you guys have multiple ways to. Do you want to hail these people as friends, or do you want to hide, or do you want to prepare, or what do you want to do?
Sounds as good as anything. Just either starting a fight or just, we're here. Blow the horn.
You blow
without-
the horn. Make a performance check for how you blow this horn without the magic. You've openly said that you don't know how to play a bugle. Oh, it comes out decent. It's like one of those like not awful, but they make a sound, and you can see they work out. The gate kind of slows down as they are, getting relatively close to you. And you guys meet about a quarter mile ahead, and what you see are in the front, in hide and fur type armor is an orc riding a giant boar. That's what you kind of noticed as they were getting closer to you. They aren't on a horse; they are on animals. So this like full blood orc, you would know it's a full blood orc because you are a relatively big half orc, and this guy stands at least a foot and a half taller than you, and has an arm as big as Fell's thigh. These are big dudes. And then next to him is a female half orc who's probably around your size, so still big. And then Goliath, who is probably splitting the between. Goliath being you guys, the only Goliath that most of you had known and interacted with was Craig, who got left in Icewind Dale in the bottom of a pit without his pants or without his armor. And they stand and say, "Whoa!" And the main orc is the one that jumps off this giant boar. Oh, the other two are on dire wolves. And they say, "Whoa! What brings you to our valley?" Yeah.
I think everyone looks at Spell.
What brings you this far north? We don't see some of his ilk here. And they look at the three of you who are used to the cold temperatures and this rugged north that look like they fit in. Felix is in like a paisley jacket, like the thing you bought thinking that it was going to be warm enough when you went to the mountains, but it's definitely not. And so they call that out, like, what brings you this far north?
Greetings, friends. We are simply on a journey. We are looking for a place that we found on a map, and it's a bit of a spiritual journey, you might say, and we're just passing through.
Oh, passing through. You are going into kind of a dead end, so there's not a lot of passing, but let's see. This guy introduces himself as Shukzal. He says, he's like, I'm the watch head of our community here of Borothkrah. If you want to know, it's Boroftrkah.
Wait, what?
What's this dude's name?
Boroftrkah. Krah. Pronounce that word.
Baroftkra?
Yep. I did not know that that last R was in there, and that R makes it a lot harder to say than Borovka. Borovka?
That's this dude's name.
No, that is the name of the area and the city that you're
okay.
approaching. His name is Shukzal. Shukzal. And he motions to the sky and says, "Oh, it seems like you've come at an opportune time if you're on a spirit quest." It seems Cord is smiling, and we'll be having some games in his honor as you approach Storm's blessing upon you.
And upon you as well, friend.
Make a persuasion check. Just Fell specifically, because he's doing all the talking. Oh, praise be, it was good. Gosh, you ever want something to be good for somebody? And it is. And this guy immediately takes a liking to you because you kind of speak about that spiritual journey and that, and he sees you're traveling with a half orc, which kind of fits into this mold. You look the weathered and like people of this area. So he doesn't exactly know what your intentions are, but he thinks that he feels like he can trust your intentions because of kind of how you look, how you presented yourself, and heading towards you. And he says, "Please come with us. Just know you. I'm excited to have strangers come in a time when Cord is blessing upon us. There are others that might not as you go forward, but just please come. We can have some food before I send and have you approach the community proper." And he introduces the other two watchkeepers. He says, as he introduces himself, he's Watchhead Shuxall. And then he introduces his two other watchkeepers, Ardra, which is the half-orc, and Garrick, who is the Goliath, who both kind of nod, are pretty quiet and like letting their leader speak towards them.
What was the other one's name?
Ardra and Garrick. Garrik. And they slowly like start walking to the past you. Do you have any questions of them as you kind of start walking towards where you're going? Just as like kind of a recap, what you know about this place is that it is a community of orcs. And the only reason you know that is you had a map leading to somewhere. Someone had a vision. You learned about these forges of the gods, that one was around an orcish capital. You guys know literally dick. Except for that the capital that is being spoken about is the forge that was built there was one for Bahamut, that was used by Bahamut and Cord, because Bahamut, like what Cord and Bahamut kind of had a head-to-head, and then Cord did something that Bahamut approved of.
Disapproved?
No, approved of greatly, and
got it.
I was kind of like, this is where they kind of like settle the beef. And as such, Bahamut found that he was in the wrong and gifted Cord with kind of like help build this thing for Cord and his followers. So it's kind of like those two working together type area. That is what you know at all about this place. And that is something you found out maybe a year ago real time. In game time, it would have been like 2-3 months ago.
Okay,
Once I
well
get a new nib for my head. Okie dokie. Sorry about that.
Can I ask these guys about what they know of Cord and this temple
Yeah.
or whatever?
Yeah, so when you bring up Cord, like kind of like maybe ask them about a little bit of the history of this place and kind of maybe you guys all kind of explain what like more about I'm on a spirit quest. None of these people kind of know that deep of history type things, but they do bring up that there is that you would probably want to speak to one of the rune marked at the Stormhold or at the Storm Hall, specifically Ungarok. Oofa doofa dudes. Welcome to Orcish names. They only have like 4 letters.
What touch did you say he was?
What?
He's what touched?
Rune marked?
You want
Rune marked.
Rune marked at the Storm Hall. They're kind of, and they explain like they're the 4 leaders of our community. Generally the strongest of the fighters, or this is a what is the you rule by ability?
Meritocracy.
Yeah, meritocracy. Specifically meritocracy around fighting and strength. And yeah, they say Ungarak. Ungarak. And that she knows all the old stories that you might want to talk to her. But when you're specifically asking about Cord, they talk of you can see there's excitement in all 3 of them for this storm. Like kind of when people like want to hide in the storm, they are almost like reveling. Like every time a thunder rolls, they like you can see like energy and excitement in them, and almost like an eagerness to do something. But yeah, what he little is like pretty much everyone here worships the Stormlord Cord in some capacity, and asking more about the storm, like the storm like this, like essentially it's after it's lasted kind of a day and rolled in, means that we'll be running the there'll be a games over the next day, and it's kind of like a celebration of in Cord's honor, where you compete, you eat, and that. What do they called something? But like the Storm Games is essentially what they're calling them. That they'll be doing over the next little bit, and the Watchhead kind of looks to you, Fel, and sees the emblem of Bahamut on your breastplate, and it's like, maybe it's you that in your spiritual journey that's brought this blessing from Cord on us, and maybe a way for you to prove yourself in our community's eye, as opposed to us sending you out on some fool's errand just to, make sure you're tough enough. Because if you die, then we don't have to worry about you. If you make it back, then we know you're strong enough to be here. Do any of the rest of you have any questions for him as you're walking up? You're about back at the like you guys kind of like are approaching that stone and wood tower, which you can see is like an old stone tower. It kind of just looks like the first outpost, and that's kind of what he describes. Like, this is our first outpost. Like, we're mostly a mobile if we need to be a community. If say weather gets too inclement here, we can move. But this is kind of, we are the Four Watch. I'm the head of the Four Watch, and we can signal back if things happen, as they have been of late. They've been sending us out more often as things have been a little precarious as of late.
What types of things? Lots of strangers coming up this way?
We'll still let that 25 ride. It says, not strangers coming in, but more community members leaving and not returning, and word from our hunters that ride the plains for mammoth and other things coming back, that they see many of the communities having left more towards the central plains, and perhaps joining some less savory types. So, to be forewarned is to be prepared. Do Christopher or Carrick have any questions?
Not really. I think
probably
I
just
pretty much tuned it out.
Yeah.
probably just side-eyeing the half-orc woman. Just
side-eyeing in any type of real way, or just
oh yeah, I'm a little it's been a while since I've had a slag.
slide in you, a little horned up.
Fucking Tormund on the horse, side-eyeing Lady Brienne, just fucking creepy ass smile.
Make
exactly.
What is an awful, like, what is your charisma?
Pretty bad. 1 + 1.
+1, so your passive charisma would be 11. We'll give you a. Oh, I threw that. I don't know which one it was. She sees you side-eyeing her and isn't totally put off.
Said you like to eat and play games, huh? So we like to eat and play games,
Okay, now you got to make a persuasion check.
Oh yeah.
That was some rough verbiage. You like to eat and play games?
I was about just before that. I was gonna do the coin. That would have been a perfect. That would have been a perfect coin
for smooth talk.
Yeah. I'm doing the smooth talk on this. Yeah, I'm waiting. It's not now, but it will be for this exact occasion.
She looks to you and says, if you compete and you do well, we'll see, and winks at you and trots off ahead on her giant wolf.
Yeah, I like a woman on a giant wolf.
Anyways,
I was about to summon hopefully summon a dire wolf too, and then ride off on a badger or something.
You just go hide in the woods and see if you can use all 8 of the gray balls in the bag for a day trying to get a dire wolf. Yeah, so yeah. So the last thing kind of gives, and he kind of stops, and you all have kind of a late lunch at this outpost. You can tell this guy likes seeing strangers here, especially ones that aren't riding through and were polite and things like that for this community, and just look genuinely battle tough and ready and strong. And so they kind of just like a simple some hard tack type bread and some jerky as a meal. And he says, sadly, I must admit, I'm much more welcome to strangers than a lot of people. So like I said before, as you go ahead, I'll send Ardra with you. but so you aren't asked too many questions as you enter. As I believe your intentions are pure for our community and that, but they will bring you in and we'll say you will probably need to prove yourself in some actual capacity to this community. We do not just rely on words and that, but general acts are what speak loud here. So please just know that any trouble you make, every single person in the community, whether a child or an elder, will probably be able to beat the shit out of at least a couple of you. So start some shit. You'll learn. And I guess I should say that with what I previously said, starting some shit and winning is not going to get you approved of. So, yeah. So you guys take your kind of like 15-20 minute break there. As you leave, he waves and he says, hopefully if you do compete in the games that happen this evening, I will see you there, and maybe we can see how your southern-minded fighting goes against us here hardy in the north. So Arda begins to take you up the incline to the village. And you reach about another mile and a half away. You reach a wall that is made mostly of. It's not like a traditional wall, like with slats or stones or that. It's a whole bunch of like log pikes sharpened to ends, kind of facing out. They're still probably about 10 feet tall, and they're driven in and tied down. But it's going along, so it's a very aggressive looking wall that is encircling probably about 2 miles across in either direction, that kind of hit up against kind of the forest line and where you can't see, and the southernmost mountain line, to where it kind of creates this natural barrier that or unnatural, a walled barrier between the natural barriers that you would have a hard time going through. Yep. She gets off of her wolf and walks up and has a couple words with about 8 appointed guard, all of whom are in like some sort of hide or hard leather armor, using different weapons like axes, and a lot of people have like some pikes here over this like kind of gate area that is a little bit more built than just the standing stone logs, a spiked wall, and they nod and allow you entry. As you move your way through Barathra, you notice that it is mostly orcs of some sort, whether full blood or half orc. It's kind of hard to tell, but also easy to tell. Just because the orcs, full-blooded orcs, are much bigger, and even what you assume was a half orc is much bigger than Christopher. Christopher is looking pretty diminutive by comparison to a lot of the people here. Fell as well. Your 2 beefy boys are like middle beefy here. But you do see the occasional dwarf, Goliath, a few humans, 1 or 2 tieflings, actually. All these people seem to be finishing some sort of chores of tanning, skinning, and building, repairing things in these circles of heavy permanent tent structures, kind of like mud type huts in some cases, but mostly heavy hides that are staked down and dug into the ground for warmth and things. Some give you an odd look as you pass by, and many you see are armed with something or other on their side. Final interesting note is that you do go by quite a few pens, which would normally think were livestock and like beasts of burden were paired. And you don't see many horses, but there are a lot of giant boar, a lot of dire type wolves that seem to be saddled up in that. And you do even see some giant elk, which is like a 12-foot tall elk that have like bridles and that attached to them for some sort of beast of burdening. Yeah. That is what you see as you go through. Entering the central part of town, you see a large carved piece of stone. Carved into it is a ring with a bronze sphere in the center of it. 4 iron lightning bolts coming out of it, connecting to that overall stone ring. Christopher, make a wisdom check as you're looking, as you see this big statue in front of you. Yeah, you do kind of remember this looks a little bit like the emblem that was on top of your old hammer. Just something. There are 3 long wooden buildings that frame the square. One to the east, to your left, being where you're told you could find food and lodging by Ardra. She called it the Cont. The other 2 she points out as the Marthlau and the Storm Hall. Marthlau being the general market, and the Storm Hall being probably where you would find the Ungarok, who you were told about. What you'll want to do? We're in the middle of this weird town.
Head to the Storm Hall, right?
Mm-hmm.
Go seek out Ungarok. Try and find is Ungarok a man or a woman?
Woman.
I thought you said I couldn't remember if you said. I thought you did.
Yeah, I think I did, but if I didn't, doesn't matter. Yeah, you can do that. There's not a lot of places to store your horses and all of your provisions, though. But yeah, you guys can go and just kind of park and set everything out there. Yeah, if you are going to do that, then you park, tie up your 14 horses, which isn't, you have what, 4, 5, 6. You have 6, a band of 6 horses, and as you approach, you see an older age human man coming out of the Storm Hall that kind of like looks taken aback by your group, and he's like, visitors, wonderful. And he comes in and says like, oh, it seems, are you here for business? Are you here for trade?
I mean, we're always open to exploring trade options, but we're mostly looking for the mountains beyond here, looking for the Forge of the Gods.
Oh, says, oh, I know nothing about that, but please, if you have a business with the storm, with the rune marked, here, let me. Here, can I? Are you staying with friends here, or are we going to be able to rent out one of our nice rooms for you fine folks? That doesn't happen often, but it is. I take pride in my work.
I think we'll certainly need some sort of accommodations. Whether
Here, let me take your seat. And he immediately like starts grabbing the bridles of and stirrups, not stirrups, reins of your animals, and says like, here, I will get them. We have a pen on the side that I have spared no amount of time to prepare ready for beasts that might not be as hearty. I have furs for them to cover them. And says, I will lead them over there. And he points to like 25 feet away where this second log house is, the Cont, which is what you're told is kind of like the community center / inn. Here, let me take your animals, and you can just come and meet me and my significant other Kutho over at the Cont after you finish your business here. Yes. Yes. And he goes to take your animals if you allow him.
There's no reason to try. Plus, that we can afford more animals if we need to.
Yeah, we're
take
some
off some of our
birds
hands.
ride around on boar and wolves.
I just kind of look at Steve and just like give him like keep.
The day before, you had to reappear, Steve.
Yeah, Steve's like, okay, yeah. I will be alerted if anything goes awry with the animals.
To watch out. Tarek, would you have re-summoned Owl?
Yes.
Okay, so mark off your charcoal and incense. Which, if you didn't have any, you could have gotten some here.
I had that is my last one, so I do need to buy more at some
You'll
point.
need to. So you'll have to shop later. But if you have some, then that says, well, just make sure you come back by, because I will have your horses taken care of and warmed and fed and all of that. We can't wait to see some new faces in the Talk later. Goodbye. And walks away with Steve, Steven, Stefan, Stephanie, Bandit, and Horse. I think that was all the names. Yeah, you guys walk into the storm hall. The door wasn't open, but when you walk in, it's kind of it had that flat wooden structure, but in the back it's kind of domed. There's a fire pit in the middle that's not really. This has some loose embers in it. It's very simply kept. You do see adornments of that same symbol of Horde, so it's kind of a shield with an iron middle with 4 lightning bolts coming out the center to a outer metal ring. Kind of like those, like one sitting above this 4 lined up, like not like regal thrones, but large chairs in front of a table, all of which are equal height. There's no like central chair that you see there. And in there, standing in front of the table, is an elderly orc talking, as well as a much younger, what you would know as an Orog, which is, like I said earlier before, or I guess the only person who would know what an Orog is would be Christopher. If you want to, you would know.
Hey guys,
If
it's
you
an
want to
Orog.
roll so that you aren't pointing out someone like, oh yeah, that's this race.
I'm gonna stealth whisper
Okay, yeah.
what they are.
Make a
Hey guys, that's Orog. Like stage whispering here.
yeah. Yeah, you're able to whisper to them, and Orog is, like I kind of said, kind of like you're halfway between a full-blood orc and an ogre, so much bigger in stature, but in most other ways the same. And they're talking, and they seem pretty jovial, pretty happy about this. And as you walk in, the older woman orc looks at you and smiles, and the Orog immediately looks and is immediately quizzical, and kind of like you can watch their posture tense up, and be acting a lot less jovial in seeing you. What do y'all do?
I think I could call out in Orcish, like, what's up?
Okay. You say what's up, and they respond, Court's blessing upon you.
You know,
Give them finger guns.
finger guns too.
Um,
Finger guns, yeah.
and-
What is Orcish for finger guns?
What is Orcish for finger guns?
Finger guns.
Guns. I guess actually guns do exist in this world, so you can do.
I have some, yeah.
You have a big musket but in a quiver of arrows.
I'm like finger musketing, yeah.
Finger musketing.
Yep. So you come in. They nod and they say, "What?" And the Orag yells out, "What brings your business here?"
We'll just pat Fel on the back. And
Greetings
push
upon
him
you,
forward.
friend. I am looking for one of your room marked. Shuxall said I should maybe seek out their guidance, Ungarok. I have some questions.
Nods to you. Like, please ignore my younger Runemark's impetuance. He is always looking for an enemy, as is his job. But here on this blessed day, we can't shy away those that seem to have found themselves in quite auspicious means. And I think like that first interaction was everyone was speaking in Orcish, but then immediately realized probably only one of you speaks Orcish. Or does anyone else speak Orcish? What languages does everyone speak? I'm just curious.
I speak Common, Draconic, Dwarven, Elvish, Yeti, and Undercommon.
So nothing useful here.
Got
I
Abyssal.
don't even remember
Infernal. and
other
Thieves' Cant,
other
which is not really-
proficiencies and languages. There's just nothing else there. Oh no, common and infernal. I found it. Yeah, infernal. Huh. I figured it was always just common because Stella's a bit of a dum dum.
What's the difference between Abyssal and Infernal?
So infernal is people speaking from the nine hells. Abyssal is a language used from the demons of the abyss. Demons versus devils.
Oh, okay.
They're actually always at war with each other.
Oh, okay.
Kind of, if you cosmology wise, devils of the nine hells care about they're evil but lawful. They care about contracts, things like that, like selling your soul to the devil type things. Whereas the abyss, it is just chaos. There are trees that have snakes for leaves.
Nice.
Chaos type
We
thing.
almost went there, right? Like, I feel like this might end up in that pit from.
So the like stuff that you were seeing in the woods was definitely abyssal, demonic. Nothing that you have seen in this world has been very like devil oriented.
What was
much
the
more.
giant, like, endless pit that we were gonna go? Like, we saw.
That would have been down to the Underdark, which has a lot more ties with the abyss than the Nine Hells.
Someday, maybe. In like
Some-
15
someday,
years.
go there.
15 years
Go there.
when we're still doing this, yeah.
There's 9 layers of hell, like there's 700 layers of the abyss that all connect through no way that you know how to. Like layer 1 connects to layer 666.
Nice.
Anyways, yeah, so they like quickly see that they need to speak common. You guys are all speaking common to each other, and Yeah, so she mentions that, and says, and like after you kind of present yourself, speaks with the other Orog next to him, who does eventually introduce himself as Gishak, Gishak. He's the head of the militia of this town, which says everyone, like as you heard, everyone can fight. He's just kind of in charge of making sure they learn to fight, making sure they do that. And he speaks to Ungarok in Orcish and seeks, and while she looks very jovial and sees like your nice demeanor coming in as something great, she does nod to Gishak and says, "My fellow Rudmark brings up a good point here in that we cannot be sure that you are not allying with the orcs of the plains, the Jezerai, what Jezeraz, and Jaruk. So perhaps before I can help you, prove yourself. Prove yourself in the eyes of our God. We find him a good, strong judgment of intention, and that, and if you're willing to put your life on the line, often we can trust you at your word. So please come follow me, and as our Lord likes to say, prove yourself."
I'll just say in Orcish, like we love to put our life on the line for much stupider things than this.
We did this just yesterday.
We just like the chairs, and we wanted to sit on them.
Yeah.
Much like Bamat and Cord, like, hopefully we can forge a friendship and prove ourselves worthy allies. We find no allegiance currently in these lands. We really don't know much about the different groups here. We certainly mean no harm to anyone at this point, but would be happy to show that we're simply traveling, passing through.
Yeah, with you saying Bahamut and Cord and mentioning that, make a persuasion check. Yeah, 14. She, you can tell immediately she notices that and nods and says, "Well, yes, I agree." And says, "Come with me now. I'll escort you personally. And any questions you have of this area or our goings on, I can help elucidate as we go up towards the Ruby Grounds." And she stands up to her full, about like 7.5 foot tall orcish frame, and starts walking out of the storm hall. When she does walk out, she says, "It is. We still have a bit of time before the games begin. If there's anything you would like to prepare yourself with," and she points to the where your horse had been taken. "Please, if you wish to deposit your belongings, and before we make the trek up the hill, feel free to leave them in the comm talk, or if you need to provision yourself with anything, if there's any wounds since you have made this long trip, please visit the Marflow." Which, by the way, Contalk means community in Orcish, and Marflow means market.
I'm gonna run to the market.
Yeah, market. I'm gonna go back to the horse. I kind of just given the type of people who were around, I kind of pare down. Like I take off my more ornate cloaking that's part of my armor and my cape, and just kind of pare it down to just my armor. I actually leave like the javelin and a bunch of the other more heavy stuff behind. Just my armor and my sword. And kind of, so they could see, I'm prepared and focused.
But act like where you're at.
Yeah.
Anyone else leave things? Like real quick, don't have to play anything. If you guys go into the Cont, which is a giant community center, but has an inn and kind of bar provided. There's 3 rooms. Asks if you kind of want them. They'll ask for a bit of money, about 1 gold a day per person, and with your horses, probably 2 gold a day per person for lodging for you and your steeds. But
I'm gonna go to a bar, do some market research on what everybody likes to eat.
Okay.
Sitting down, just make this brief. Sitting down at a bar, most crowded area, just asking what everybody wants to eat. Yeah.
The place really is not crowded at all. You essentially get to talk to Hammond, who is the old man that you had met, as well as who is kind of like dealing with your horses and setting up your rooms. But who you'd probably talk to is this very old orc woman named Kutho. And talking to her, she says, most of what's eaten here is what they can find. So it's all, hearty root vegetables, and a ton of meat, but game type meat. So there's not a lot of animal husbandry here. It's much more hunter-gatherer type things, but they do have like fields they cultivate into root vegetable type stuff. So carrots, potatoes, turnips, those things. So honestly, that's what we like. Probably if you were looking for, that's the general cuisine, but this is not a place that gets exotic spices or anything like that very often.
I'm just Googling it. I'm going to the market. I'm buying bay, juniper berries, rosemary, sage, and sweet marjoram is what goes well with venison.
You do not find the sweet thing. You can what even kind of check is this to find the spices?
I think juniper berries is pretty...
No, juniper berries make sense.
Nature?
Nature?
Yeah. Well, no, nature would be if you were forging them. If you're in a town hoping that they just make a...
Investigation?
Yeah, make an investigation check. You find everything. Is this like one other trader, this dwarven trader that's there that had come down from Uthadern, which is a whole different story, came down from there and it's just been like kind of like brought these things, and now it's like, well, I'm kind of stuck here because I barely made it past the Jezeraz coming down here. I'm just gonna stay here for a while, and brought in like these weird herbs that are similar to it because everything in Uthadern is produced underground via magic. But you have everything that you need to spice venison.
Heck yeah.
So, put in your however you want to track that.
Just throwing it in there.
So you get that to kind of help with that.
I prod Hammond a little bit here. Hammond, obviously we're a bit of an outlier here. What brings a man living amongst the orcs all the way up here? How'd you get here? Why'd you stay?
Well, once you've been here, you realize that the way, let me think. Why would he live here? Where was he from? with a name like Hammond. Says, I worked a life down in the run, working through the woods. Not always something you were proud of, but eventually started moving away from that less reputable work and moved out here to once you're on a few trading runs, you just continue doing it because the other way of going is stealing and robbing and that. So ended up here. I met Kutho, who was running this hall, and I felt I had better to do here. No real reason, just a better life than what I was doing there. It's a simpler life, a harder life for sure, but a simpler life. A community that cares for each other is nice. I would say that. A community that is not always searching for the gain of them, the gain of the community is also very nice. And yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I kind of just grab it like a drink and a shot. I just kind of just chat with him and feeling out anybody else that's at the bar, just as of is this a strongly religiously driven group? Kind of feel out. I mean, obviously they continue to say bless, Cord, but how much do they know of Bahamut? What's their knowledge level of the forge?
So what you would say is, like, if you're asking about that forge, they really don't. They might have say a story that we heard of,
Sure,
thousands of years ago type stories. But yes, this place is very religious, but very specifically towards Cord. And what you can kind of gather from that, and I think maybe at a certain point, what's her name? Ungarat comes in and sits down, realizing that you might have been talking for a bit. Comes in, starts discussing and kind of shepherding you guys all out to these fields and answering these questions. Yes, very very much religious towards Cord, mainly because of the history of this, and kind of starts describing some of the history of orcs in Exandria. Is very brief version. Orcs as a species were born from the blood of Grumpsh One Eye, who is the god of slaughter. So he, by a blood curse, is why orcs got their reasoning for killing and pillaging and that. But this is one of the many sects throughout the world that broke away from that, and often times that was through the finding of a new god. And they're, in this case, Cord, who is the god of battle and competition and that.
Speaking with Shuxel, it seems that tensions are heightening here in your lands.
Yes. It seems our brethren on the plains, many from this community at one point, have found that life out there is better, and there are times that we worry that especially as winter comes soon, they may be looking for the bounty that we have found here in our woods and our hunting grounds, more than out on the desolate plains. I'm sure that you saw that there's not always a ton out there to be had. So we worry. People find that sometimes zealotry of one kind is, when brought up in it, is a little hard to stomach. So you look for something else, and maybe what you find is more akin to what you want. Kind of explains that, there have been quite a few of the younger generation that have left here not wanting to live under the rune marked and this very singular viewed community. especially when it is just a hard living, a fair living, but a hard living. So, yeah. Is there anything else Felix or Carrick want to do?
I want to get ready for these games.
Okay. Is there anything you want to prepare for it? So, yeah, I guess. Phil, you left behind most of your shit. Is anyone else leaving behind their shit?
I'm gonna rock these games with some sweet marjoram.
With some sweet marjoram, okay? Yeah, the rest of you probably, you guys just all can start heading up for these games. Let's go to the next. As you warp up through the hill, you come through this, like the trees kind of suck in around it, and for about, probably a quarter mile, you're walking through this thick, dense treed area of boreal type forest. Boreal evergreen? I can't remember. Evergreen forest. And as you get to the top of this hill, it drops down into a basin that is being cleared out. You can tell it was clear cut, and inside of it you see like about 10 different, like 20-foot by 20-foot rings. A center ring of about, maybe 100-foot in diameter, with like about 10 giant rocks scattered across it, and then like some makeshift seating arrangements that kind of look down over all of it. And the rune marked both motion you to come down, and they point towards, at the entry of this are these pits that you see a whole bunch of different people, like young and old, people like in their 70s, fighting in these little fisticuff matches in these rings, and kids wrestling in another one. And they approached and said, "Please, before we fully introduce you, let me introduce you to the other rune marked, our leader, what's his name? Our leader Morgron, and this bastard's sister Shoma. Please let us introduce there, and then perhaps we can introduce you to the games once the big thunder hits." And that's what it's 2. That's probably a good place to stop. So.
Dope.
So, yeah, so pick up there next time with you meeting the other 2 rune marked at the beginning of the proving grounds for the wish I knew the actual name of these games. Oh no, it's called the Storm Celebration. There we go. So hard to remember. Very nice job.